Hello friends and my dear students. So in the last video we discussed different tokens of Java and L value and R value. And this time I am going to discuss different keywords, rather collection of the keywords and different data types in Java. So here this is a table of keywords. Abstract, assert, case, catch, boolean, break, byte, char, class, continue, default, do, double, else, enum. So if you see these words tell to you that we are the keywords and you cannot use us as identifiers. So you should keep this in mind that these words which you are seeing here cannot be used as an identifiers. Okay, so you cannot use these words as identifier. So here, to define an identifier, these identifiers should be composed by yourself. After the keywords, I'm going to discuss what are the different data types in Java. So see here, what is Java data type? So data types specify the different sizes and values that can be stored in a variable. And what is variable or identifier? It stores the memory location of the particular literal. There are two types of data types in Java. Number one, primitive data types means the data type which cannot be further decomposed or divided. The primitive data types include boolean, character, byte, short, int, long, float, and double. So it means if there is a primitive data type, there also be a non-primitive data type. So what is the non-primitive data type? This is here. The non-primitive data types include classes, interfaces, and arrays. Means if you consider an object like a student, this object includes different primitive data types like admission number, his name, his date of birth, his father's name, his mother's name, his class number, number of marks. So if you define a student, these primitive types can be composed to make a non-primitive data type student. So this way you can understand that primitive data type cannot be broken down further, whereas the non-primitive data type can be broken into the primitive data types. And one most important thing which you should remember, that Java is a statically typed programming language. It means all the variables must be declared before its use. Otherwise, compiler will generate the error, that undefined variable. And that is why we need to declare variables name and their corresponding types. So this line, which is in color, should be uh, remembered while using or creating the program. So what are primitive data types? So over here, there are 8 primitive data types. And what are those? Like boolean, byte, character, short, int, long, float, and double. So these are the primitive data types. And if you see these data types, you can imagine these data types cannot be broken down further into different data types. Okay. So here there is the hierarchy of data types. So data type is divided into two parts. primitive data type and non-primitive data type. Primitive data type is divided into two, Boolean and numeric. Boolean and numeric. What is Boolean? In the Boolean data type, the type is Boolean, where B is in small. When you consider numeric, it is divided into two parts, character and integer. So character data type can be declared using char keyword, char, whereas integral data type is further divided into two parts. Number one, integers, and number two, floating points. So if you consider integer, so there are four types of integer types. Number one, byte. Number two, short. Number three, int, and number four, long. Byte is the smallest integer type. Short is bigger than byte. Int is bigger than short, and long is bigger than int. And second part and other part of the floating point is float. This is again a type where you want to store or keep the value which is having the precisional value or decimal value. So float is smaller than the double. So you can use float where f is small. You can use double where d is in small. So these are the data types, and these data types are primitive data types. Whereas if you move to non-primitive, you'll see non-primitive could be the string, means the collection of characters. So a string can be further broken down or decomposed into characters. Array can also be broken down into different types, etc. Means there may be more non-primitive data types, as I have discussed about student. So here there is a table of different data types which shows the size and default value of the data type, primitive data type. So see here, number one is Boolean data type and its default value is false. So if you declare any identifier in terms of Boolean, and if you are going to print the value of that Boolean identifier, it should print false. Whereas it occupies only 1 bit of memory. The size of this type is only 1 bit, 0 or 1. So this is a single bit. Okay, so false value possesses 0 and true value possesses 1. So there are only two digits, 0 or 1, and 0 or 1 is known as a bit, 1 bit. Then we come to character. Earlier it was discussed that if you are going to use character type, you will have to use or consider ASCII, American Standard Code for Information Interchange. But character data type is now Unicodes, or character data type is converted into Unicodes, and Unicodes are more than ASCII characters, more than 3000 characters. They are Unicodes, and these Unicodes are defined as \u and followed by 4 digits, and it should be in codes. So over here, this is the default value, but there could be another code also. Like if you want to represent 65, to convert this into, divide it by 2 and get the digits, and this way you can get the character capital A using \u 00 and something, and it occupies 2 bytes in the memory. So we'll discuss while we do the program, we'll discuss this. And the next type is byte. Its default value is 0. So when you declare any byte type identifier, its default value will be 0, and it will occupy only 1 byte of the memory. 1 byte means 8 bits, as 1 byte composed of 8 bits means 8 0 and 1s. Then the next type is short, means it is again a, an integer type and its default value is 0 and it occupies 2 bytes of memory or 16 bits. The next type is int, which you usually use. Int, it occupies 4 bytes of memory and its default value is 0. The next type, integer type, is long and its default value is 0 capital L, means over here capital L indicates the long value. So if you say long x is equal to 512, we'll have to put the suffix capital L here so that this value will be treated as the long value. And its size is 8 bytes. Float, when you want to use the decimal point or the precisional value, in that case you will have to use float type and its default value is 0.0f. F indicates float and its memory size is 4 bytes, means 32 bits. And the next type is double. This is indicated by D and its default value is 0.0 C and its memory size is 8 bytes. So they are the data types and we'll discuss more in our next video. And if you like the video, kindly share it with your friends. And if you have not subscribed my channel yet, kindly subscribe it and press the bell icon so that you get the notification of the video as and when uploaded. So we'll meet in the next video. Till then,